episode 4 of 4 Lines Workshop. Today we're going to be doing scallops, and we have this fantastic scallop top that we made, which is very simple. It has scalloped sleeves and it has the scallop bottom. It's also cut straight across so that when it hangs, the scallops will fall. So it has nice movement, it's an A-line shape, it's very simple. It's got a front facing, and we do the scallops. We cut, the pattern comes with the scallops, or you can do it straight across, you don't need to do the scallops. And then we make a facing of the same scallops and we stitch them on. So that's what we're going to do today. It's a versatile pattern, and today I'm going to make the scallop top as a crop top. So it's a little shorter, it's got its scallops, and the sleeves have its scallops as well. And this is a smaller size than the larger one. And then we have, and it's also much shorter, and then we have our scallop facing. So the first thing you're going to do is your shoulder seams, and then you're going to place your facing onto your neckline. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to prepare our scallops. We also have, in the vein of scallops, we did a skirt in the Winterworks workshop called, it's the Drexel skirt. And we remade it, and I've left the front and the back open, so if you want to see that, and the download pattern is available. So what we did here is we finished the whole skirt. I'll show you when we get to that, and then there's a different way of doing scallops. So we'll do that, and then we have a surprise little feature, which is an underslip that I made a long time ago. It's got a little bit of an A-line skirt, there are darts in the skirt, and then a simple bodice. And this is a great shape. It's not meant to hug your waist, it's meant to be a little bigger, but it goes inward on the bodice, so it has this nice flavor that you can just throw anything on. You could also make this as a dress, which we will do. So let's get started. Our facing is done. All we did was sew it on the right sides together and then flip it inside and stitch it down. And it gives us a nice clean edge. Because there's so much going on with the scallops, I wanted something clean up here. Then we're going to do the sleeves. Before we add the sleeves on, and you've done your shoulder seams, we need to put our scallop facing on, and this is the easiest way. So I have my sleeve, and then we're going to add our scallop in place and stitch it on like so. So then when we go to stitch the sleeve closed, we'll just match up these seams and stitch it together. So we're going to do that on each sleeve, and then we're going to do that on each front and back of the top. So let's add the scallops. We're stitching, edge stitching 1/8 of an inch from the edge of the scallop on the sleeve. You're going to do this on both sleeves, and she's going to pivot, needle down, and pivot. I'm just going to do this on both sleeves and on the garment, and this just creates a better finished scallop and maintains the shape of the scallop, and it is also easier when you turn the facing of the scallop to the wrong side. You don't need to press once you've stay stitched, you don't have to press the garment. Now putting the facing of the scallop right on top of the garment. It's very easy to do. Once pinned in place, stitch on the wrong side because that's where you're going to see your stitches. And you're now stitching 1/4 inch from the edge. Just being careful to go around those curved edges and into the point of the scallops. When you do the pivot, stitch 1 stitch across. This gives it a little bit more room in there to flip and clip. And continue sewing your scallops in place. So on either side of the shirt, we've added our scalloped facing. We didn't do the sides yet, but this is the easiest way to do this. I'm very excited. And the front, the garment looks like this. It's just so cute. And a very different option to the other one. We did the same on the sleeves. So now, you'll notice that the pattern doesn't call for a seam down the sleeve, but we didn't have enough fabric. So I found this gem of this Indian block print. It's hand blocked and it's just beautiful. So we just seamed this so that we had enough fabric. And if you don't have enough fabric, that's where you would seam. So now we're going to add the sleeves into the armhole. And then we're going to stitch the sleeve and the side seam. And when we get to the side seam, right sides together, we're going to pin. We're going to match those scallops and stitch down the side and continue stitching down the side of our shirt. And then when it's done, it'll be able to be flipped up and turn under and stitch down. I just love how it came out. It's really darling with its scalloped bottom and its scalloped sleeve. And all we did was add those scallops. It's all about the shape, and then adding your facing and then stitching it all up. Very easy top to make, and you can make it in the long style, which is very dramatic, and we have it over the Juliet pant over there in a beautiful brocade with linen facings. And this is just a simple voile print, and then the linen on the inside, or even the same cotton, just anchors the scallops, so it gives it some weight. It's very cute. Very, very cute. I love the scallops, and this little top is pretty versatile. We can wear it over our little slip dress here. Just adds so much flavor to anything. And we're going to make the scallops in a different way. So scallops can be done just like that. So the garment, you cut the scallops, the facing, you cut the scallops, and it is all done in one piece, and it's stitched on like so. It looks very good. And the arms are stitched down and beautiful. And when it's a wider sleeve like this one, you can see more of the scallop. So the other way to do it, and we'll do this in the it says instructions in the Drake cell, the original pattern, and we added the scallops. So what we did here is we cut the scallops in pieces. So it's not one long strip. There are 2 pieces that we put together, stitch around the edge and turn, and then top stitch it so that it looks like this. Very easy to do. And then we have our Drexel skirt here. And for any piece that you're working on that you want to add scallops to, you can either add them along the bottom of a skirt or along the neckline. We did something similar in the petal dress. And so this is our Drexel skirt. So the Drexel skirt, let me remind you, it's in 2 panels. This one is the narrow version, and it has a zipper on one side, right here. You can do that in a variety of ways. Watch that Winter Works video for that. And then this is the other side. And it's slightly off center, and it's also shaped a little bit different in the hem, so that it gives it sort of a little slight asymmetric hemline. So instead of just stitching it up or adding a strip in for decoration, we have our scallops. So you can put your scallops along the edge. I'm going to put them like this and then flip them over and you can also do different size scallops, and in this regard I am overlapping them just like so. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it on right sides together, raw edges together, and I'm going to follow my line, and I'm just going to overlap them. I'm then also, I don't want maybe many scallops up into the waistline, onto the tummy, so I'm going to add a few along the baseline, or where I started. So I'm overlapping the scallops to create more depth in the scallops. So it'll look like that. So now we're going to baste that in place, and then we will stitch our front center seam. You can do it on the back in this way. On this piece I'm just doing it on the front. And I love it that we made it in this pinstripe, because it's sort of a surprise, because a scallop can be quite feminine, and in this way we made sort of a edgier garment. I'm pinning through too many layers here. Nope. And so the pinstripe is kind of a surprise. And I'll continue pinning. So we're going to baste this in place and then stitch the front seam. So now we have our back stitched on our Drexel, as well as our scallops in place. And when you wear it, you know, they're going to flap about. So it's up to you to maybe tack down a few in the back, just not at the top of the scallop, but sort of in the center if you wanted to stay on one side. Otherwise, you know, there's movement there. So, you know, they will move when you walk, which I think is really lovely. And what a great skirt this is. And you can see that it's asymmetrical, it sits asymmetrical. And then we add our waistband, and the hemline, the binding would get sewn on the inside, or just to let it sit like that, or it goes right inside. So there's the Drexel, and with its new addition, the scallops. So again, Zorba is just a very simple bodice. It's a little bit wider, it's got little armholes. The waist sits on me a little bit below my waist actually, and then you've got the darts in place. This is a great slip. It can be worn under a lot of things. I do wear mine with pants, but it is a great underpiece. But in this case, we're going to make it like it's a little dress all on its own. Same pattern. We've done our facings, and this is how we did them. We stitched the shoulder seam and then stitched them onto the inside. So right side of the binding or the facing to the wrong side of the garment, and then we flipped it over and did some top stitching. So what we're going to do next is our skirt. Now we could just add our skirt on. Before we added our skirt on, we did make our pleats. And there are 3 pleats, and they can be done on the outside or the inside of the garment. I'm sorry, not pleats. We did our darts on the inside of the fabric so that they look like so. Making darts is very simple, just follow the pattern. Now we could place this right sides together onto the garment. I'm using 2 different fabrics. That would be great. In my opinion, it would need like maybe some little belt hooks, belt loops, or something to finish the garment. In this case, what I want to do is, with the sheer, we just stitch the skirt right onto the bodice, and that's fine for your slip. And for a very simple dress too, depends on the fabric you're using. But in this case, what we're gonna do is I'm going to stitch this on right sides together. I'm using the contrast fabric here. What's going on? We're going to stitch it across the skirt top and finish it like so, so that it just stands out a little bit. This just gives it a nice finish. And then we're going to stitch that onto the dress. So it gives it this finished, little bit of a finished look, little bit of an added detail, which it otherwise would not have. And I love the facing on the outside of the fabric, it just gives it a little bit more depth and also corresponds to its skirt fabric. So once that's on, then all you do is your side seams. We've taken the Zorba dress from a simple slip to a little dress, and it's so simple, easy to throw on. It's got a nice little belt finish there. Doesn't necessarily fit in the waist. You can make it fit in the waist, but I just like it as a little schoolgirl dress where you can wear it as is, with a little cardigan over the top, a jacket, and I think it's just got a nice flavor. This wool that I used is unbelievable fabric. It is luxury worsted by Holland & Sherry, Savile Row, London. So it's from my sister's factory, and I scored a couple of yards, and that's why we did the block print, because I only had so much. So there you have it, and I think that's awesome. You could also wear it as a skirt. Very cute. And then we have our Drexel skirt with the scallops this time, which is a great addition and will look great under our scalloped tops. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, number 4, and we will see you next time.